في مدينة أعيد إعمارها مثل برلين يكمن السر الذي يعرفه الجميع، وهو أن لا، لن أكرر ما هو معروف، لكنني سأخبركم بما لا تعرفون. ليست مشكلة الحرب في من يموتون، مشكلتها في من يبقون أحياء بعدها. My name is Ghayath ALMADHOUN. I am a Palestinian born in Syria because of the Israeli occupation. My father is Palestinian from Ashkelon and my mother is Syrian from the city of Dar'a, where the Syrian revolution began. There is no way I will be born without the occupation because there is no way my father will end in Syria. I'm a Swedish citizen and I live in Berlin. So I think my life is connected so much to what happened in 1948 in Palestine, the Nakba. I'm a poet, as my friends say, I'm a full-time poet. Do nothing else. The best thing to be an Arab writer or writer who write in Arabic in Berlin, it is that it is the biggest Arabic city outside the Arabic world. It's really important. So the difference that you continue surrounded by Arabs and in the same time you have democracy instead of the 22 dictatorship we have. So the best thing for me is to be an outsider. You will never be part of this old continent. In the same time, if you go back to your country, you are not part of Syria or Palestine because you are a foreigner. So you are in the parallel. I like that so much because it makes me able to see the things from different angle, and this is what I need to absorb and give in literature. Also, Berlin is very cosmopolitan, and it gives me the opportunity to meet people from all over the world, especially artists. I call it a concentration camp of artists. People didn't like that to hear, especially in Germany, saying by Palestinian, but I do. You will never be part of the real things. Like it is, you will always be criticized, and you're not allowed to make a criticism. The moment you criticize, they say you go back to your homeland. It's very problematic. I always advise people to read the article by Hannah Arendt, We Refugees. She described the arrivals to New York, the Jewish refugee in that time, how they don't want to be refugees, and they describe that they are immigrant, which is not really better. So never I felt that, in all my life, I never felt that I belong to any place. So yes, I have this feeling that I'm lost, I'm vagabond, nomad, don't belong to the things, and this make me more tough on saying the things and say truth to power. It is really complicated for me as a Palestinian to not feel jealous when I speak about countries in front of the others. The best things for me as a Palestinian is that I'm born without borders or the shape of countries or nationalism that I see that limits my friends. I always have the feeling that I am more free than anyone because of the things. I don't want to give credit to the occupation, but I feel that the opportunity to be an outsider is really related to be stateless. And that make me belong to my friends and to the language more. And I'm lucky to be surrounded by great friends from all over the world, in the same time that I write in a language like the Arabic, which I call is one of the lucky language, if we consider to be the Spanish and English and Arabic, as the three languages have many countries. So yeah, we are lucky people. You could be star in Iraq, they hate you in Libya. You are bestseller in Egypt, they write against you in Dubai. And this all systematic book fairs, they cover the whole year. So you fly from Casablanca to Beirut Book Fair, from Beirut Book Fair to like Riyadh Book Fair. It's like covering all year. And always compare it with my Swedish friend who have one book fair 3 days and small language for 10 million people, and I feel so happy. But in the same time, I always remember that the things I belong to is really problematic. The language, it was the language of empire, so it's have a political power. At the same time, it's the language of the religion, the Quran, so it's have all these holy things. So it's mixed between the Hebrew and the Latin. Latin have the holy, the Hebrew have the holy power of the Torah and Old Testament, and Latino have the language of this big area, and the Arabic have both, the holy from the Quran and the power, because it was the biggest empire in history from Spain to China, and we inherited all that. So this is what I belong to. But as a country, no, because that I travel all the time. I'm running away forward, I call it, running forward. I studied Arabic literature in Damascus University. I have a lot of fight. Many exam I got zero. I filled the paper and I got zero. It showed that there were some kind of like this. The fight I like about literature. It's a huge to study Arabic literature. It's one of the biggest literature in the world, and I was a very problematic person. I didn't finish it. I arrived to the last exam and then I ran away from Syria. But yeah, it didn't shape me because most of the things I know before the university about literature and my opinion was already shaped. I got the poetry, if you could inherit it, I got it from both sides. My father is a poet, and my uncle, the brother of my mother, is a poet. So I got it from both sides. And even my other uncle is novelist, the brother of my father. So like it is some part of the family, but like we are different generation. We are friends, but like we are enemy in literature. Yeah, I don't think Arabic literature shaped me. Yeah, I don't like even... I don't like the way that they teach Arabic literature in Syria. Look very conservative for me. I like so much that I can be isolated from reality for a second, and then I forgot everything in the middle of a cafe, in the airport, inside the plane, over the ocean. I could be like, became like inside a bubble, and I began to write very fast, even if there is noise. If there is a war around me, I can write. What I like mostly is the moment I finish the text. The first 3 lines, actually, I began with them without thinking. I began to write. When I arrived to 3rd line, 4th line, the conscious thing began to be real, and from after that, it became the real text. I always delete later on this first text, and then I leave the text. Exactly like you leave the grape juice to make wine, I leave it. And then I come back and I do 2 things. During the editing, I make delete and erase. Delete, it's mean I took part to another file, to another Word document where I will work on it later, either to add it to another poem or to begin a new poem or new text. And erase is take it away. It's not exist anymore. And this is I enjoy so much because it's have the feeling of destruction, which is the opposite of creation. I like that so much. Yeah, in general, lately I became so aggressive with the erasing. So my publisher was really suspicious about me because my book is shrinking slowly. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I became a better writer, I don't know. The fear of a block, and this is, I got it every day. When I was not able to begin this first line, or when I feel I'm not able to create something new. This is like the fear every day. And it's like a nightmare. to not be able to write a good book is a nightmare for the writer. I need to sit every day to make it as a routine. I even don't write in my home. My home is for resting, meeting people, cook for them, and have dinners. So I separate my life from writing, because I believe that if you write or work in your home, you can't leave the anxiety. While I rent a house or apartment, or like what I do now, I have workspace in Berlin. I pay every month. So I go in the morning, I took a shower, I go to my office, work 8 hours, I have 1 hour lunch. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, I come back home. When I enter home, relax. So I always separate the anxiety of work from home. So this is very important for me. To enter your home and relax. You can read or do something. So I go, can you imagine a poet, full-time poet, who do nothing else, no articles, no essays, no teaching, no critique. He go 8 hours every day to an office. Writing of that is like 10 minutes. The other things is editing, reading, answering stupid emails, and all these things we should do to survive. As a Palestinian and a person grow up in Syria, these two countries is destroyed in a way, in my imagination at least. People always say for me what you write is political, and I always answer them, no, this is my life. It's not a duty. The writer he always reflects his experience and memories and everything around him. I always say it's a broken mirror, so it's not a real mirror reflecting. You got here and there. Everything we write is political. The class, the gender, everything. But you find in the market a lot of poetry and text not political, because they were clean. So what you write is always connected to political, but somebody clean it from political. It's the only way. With the time, the writer became like a self-censorship to not be a political, because for some people is a very problematic question. But like for me, if I write like my Swedish colleagues, then if I reflect the life like they do, it's not fair. They reflect their peaceful life, 200 years without war, darkness, and all these inner wars they have. But I have real stuff happen around me. If I will choose, I prefer writer to be free. If he want, it's okay. I never felt that writing and creative or art at all could be work if there is somebody put pressure on you. I prefer the writer to choose what they want to do. And if they decided to choose to take a stand or say truth to power or what they want, this should be a choice for them. I really believe in freedom and for everyone to and because that the countries who were forced people to write something, they fall. They fall. Like while in the countries where there were freedom and democracy, people have both choices. They could be like a political or take a stand or not. And both of them I respect in the end. I really believe in the state support, and I really respect so much. For example, in Sweden, I am a member of the Författarförbundet for the Swedish Writers Union, and it's a very strong union, and I believe in that. But I'm always suspicious about if the support will impose conditions on the authors. That is scary for me. Like to give support for art, of course it should be. I prefer the state one than compare with the private one, because the state in democracy is less will ask you to do this or that. But we always should be suspicious towards where the money came from. Like when people say dirty money, I never see a clean money. Like for me, money is dirt, like how I see it. So you need to work hard to rebuild this transparency that where you could support an artist without putting pressure on him what he should do. And this is like only in some countries. One of them, Sweden, is like successful. Yeah. Friend, Iraqi writer Hassan Blasem, he is like he is really great. And these two books are masterpiece. I think they published in English in 2013, 2014. The 2013 was like the Iraqi Crest, and the 2014 is the Krobs exhibition. And he is really genius. I think it's a mix between dark humor and funny, tough nightmares. He really like describe like the long history of dictatorship of Iraq, the long history of dictatorship of Saddam Hussein, ended with the civil war because of the American occupation, and then the diaspora all over the world. He ended in Finland, and he really described it in a very clever way. I love him. Yeah, during my time in Iowa, I tried to finish my fifth poetry book. And I succeed to write some new text, and I succeed to make editing for all text. And there's a poem was stuck for many years. I succeed to end it. So the atmosphere was really wonderful. And it's one live experience. You don't got the chance to be. There is no way to be with 35 writers. No one can do that outside the United States of America. To gather 35 writers with 35 visa, with 35 tickets. Yeah, so it's one time. When I came here, I say this is a vacation. But it was not, actually. It was not a vacation. It was hard work in writing and in processing this wonderful thing. Yeah, this visit, it destroyed one of my stereotype and cliches about the center of America. We foreigner, we see America like a cross. We see Chicago, Houston, New York, LA. And there's in the middle, there's a black hole. We call it the Bible Belt, the cornfield. I felt little shame from myself because I fall in love with the city, Iowa City, with this great atmosphere of the campus and the student and IWP and all this long history. So I say, yeah, it's true. It's the cliches. So yeah, Iowa may make something. I wish the peace on earth. I wish to win $1 million in lottery or $1 million by Nobel Prize.